Good day and welcome to a new video put together by Sandy from stampinsandyh.com. This week I've put together a video which outlined how to put together a couple cards from my April card kit. One of the cards was this one, and all of you are just loving the color combination. What I thought I'd do for you today is just show you some techniques with embossing. I have some new customers on my list, and I know that embossing is on the top of their list and they'd like to know a little bit more about it. So let me go ahead and show you a card similar to this one. This one currently has no embossing on it, but let me show you a card similar to this one with a different stamp set which would include embossing. The stamp set we are going to use is from the Occasions Mini catalog called Great Friend. What an awesome stamp set. I think it's really neat. The frame and the butterfly, the stem, the words, all really neat. We are going to start at this time with the butterfly. The base of our card is going to be this blue piece. And what I'm going to do is emboss the butterflies on the background. Before I start, I'm going to rub the embossing buddy over that. And when I rub the embossing buddy over that, what happens is once we stamp, that's all cool, but when we're putting on the embossing powder, it's nice when the embossing powder only sticks where you have stamped. I'm going to go ahead and get out my Versamark ink pad, and when you use your Versamark ink pad, it does basically tone on tone. It's called a watermark. We're going to step it up a notch. I'm going to stamp all over the background with this butterfly, and it's going to be really hard for you guys to see it. So I have one here, I have one there, putting another one down there, one there, a little bit up there, and a little touch down here. Now what I'm going to do is emboss that background. Now I'm sure you guys can't see it, maybe just a little bit you can if I turn it so there's no glare to it. Over time this will dry just a touch bit more and then it gets a little darker. What I'm going to do though is get out my clear embossing powder, and I store it in a little tub like this. I use a spoon and I shake it all down to one corner. Try to put as much of my card in my container as I can so that I don't have to clean up a mess on my desk. Tip it over if necessary and do the other side. And we end up with something that looks like this. Now sometimes you need to tap off a little if you get a little extra on there. But we have on there clear embossing powder. So clear ink and clear embossing powder is going to give us a finished image that is clear. This is going to be a little noisy, but right now I'm grabbing out my heat gun from Stampin Up. You can order all these products through my website, sandyh.stampinup.net. And I'm going to turn it on. It's very loud. When you use it, you point at an image until that portion of the image is melted. You will see that. Don't do it like you're drying your hair. If you do it like you're drying your hair, you swoosh it all over the card, and you do that until it's dry, till it's heated, and that will take you absolutely forever. Through the magic of video, I have gone through and heated all of those butterflies. Now you can see them. The thing you can't do is feel them. If I run my finger over them, they are very smooth feeling, really neat, I think. All right, the next step that I'm going to do is emboss a butterfly on the piece of white cardstock. In this case, I don't want a clear butterfly. I'm going to use that same little butterfly, but in this case, I want a not quite navy butterfly. The easiest way to do embossing when you want a color is to use a craft spot. Now, you all know that we have 4 color families. One of our color families is called Earth Elements. You can buy all of the stamps, or the inks, excuse me, in Stampin' Spots, either in craft or in classic. For the most part, you use classic ink, but if you want to emboss or you want to use it on a 3D item, a lot of times you'll pull out your craft. So I have pulled out my not quite navy craft ink pad. If I wanted to, I could also buy the craft ink pads in the large ink the regular size ink pad such as this size, but I feel I don't use the craft ink quite as much, so I like it in the spots instead. I'm going to flip over my butterfly. Since the spot is smaller than my butterfly, what I do is dab my ink on my butterfly until he is fully covered with the not quite navy ink. Okay? That'll look like that. Craft ink, I don't know if you can see it from here, but the ink is squishy. It's a pigment-based ink instead of a dye-based ink. The difference is also the stamp pad is foam versus kind of more of a linen look. All right, I have that stamped, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on my piece of white. Very careful when you use craft ink. It's a little bit more slippery. I have that on there, and I'm going to take my clear embossing powder and pour that over top. Tap it off, and it looks kind of cloudy. Very quickly, I'm going to heat this one for you. Can you see it being heated? I'm not sure if that's something you can see. It gets very glossy, very gorgeous little butterfly. All right, that's what we have for an image right there. All right. I think for this one I'm going to corner round the piece of white, and when I use a corner rounder I usually turn it upside down so that I can see what I'm doing. Alright, then that piece is going to be mounted onto this piece of not quite navy. From there, that's going to get mounted onto a piece of pink pirouette. That's going to go onto there. I'm going to finish this card on my own time and then add it to the video, but the layout is going to be similar to this one, only we are going to use the butterfly instead. Something else I've done for the, actually this is one of the cards that I've made in the past with the sentiment on the bottom. For this card, since the sentiment in the stamp set, you're a friend who makes good times great. That's in the stamp set. So I punched that out with the scallop oval punch from the Occasions Mini Catalog 2009. And then the piece of pink pirouette for the background piece will be punched out of this. Okay? I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. I hope you learned about embossing and how gorgeous it can be through the magic of video. If I could have you feel how that is, that would really be awesome. Have an awesome day. Remember to check out my website, stampinsandyh.com or sandyh.stampinup.net.